you to go back and look through. I encourage you to take notes because I am going to be talking about some things that aren't on the slides. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat bar, and I will try to make sure that I look at that frequently enough that I can answer your questions. So like I mentioned before I started recording, my name is Kelly. I'm a professional network marketer. I work with a wine club called Direct Sellers. I know that some of you on here are part of the same organization that I'm in, which is awesome. I love the fact that you're on here and that you're getting a little bit more information. Before that, I was a freelance digital media strategist. I got my start in digital media in 2009. I worked in New York City. I worked for 5-star hotels, managing their social media accounts and doing sales and marketing for them. And then back in 2011, I met my husband, who is an officer in the military. So obviously I did not stay in New York after that. I followed him all around the world, where he currently is. We are currently stationed in in Colorado, but we were stationed in North Carolina and Georgia before that. And I've been a creative director for a national clothing company since then. I managed everything from directing their styled shoots all the way to the little things like putting together their social media content. So I have a lot of experience in social media. It's kind of what I've been doing. I have launched some big brand social media accounts way back in 2009. So when I started with Direct Sellers 6 months ago, I had absolutely no experience in network marketing. All of my experience was basically in branding and in traditional advertising and marketing. But I knew enough about branding that I knew that I could brand myself and that I could turn myself into a personal brand that made people want to follow me. And I'm going to pass along some of that information to you. If you think that your personal brand is about colors or a clever tagline, you're wrong. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are a blogger, if you are a network marketer, if you are a solopreneur and you're a health and wellness coach, or say you're a success coach or something like that, you are your brand. It is not your colors or anything like that. Back in the day when people talked about branding, what they talked about all the time was they talked about they talked about your brand personality and all these things, and it was colors and logos, and all that stuff is still important to a certain extent. But as an entrepreneur and as a solopreneur, it is more important that you are your brand, not your product, but you. So today I am going to teach you how to build your brand and make money on social media without spamming all of your friends, because we all know that we hate to be spammed by people. So like I said earlier, the question is no longer is if you have a brand, but if you choose to guide and cultivate the brand or let it be defined on your behalf. The way that you are going to define your brand is through excellent personal branding and authentic and consistent social media. Those are the major keys to success, regardless of what product you're in, regardless of what industry you're in. Personal branding and your use of social media is going to be a huge contributor to your success or lack thereof. Your friends and prospects don't want to feel like they're being targeted, and they certainly don't want to feel like you've changed it into a different person. So it's really important that you fit your business into your personal brand in an engaging way. I'm going to give you 3 keys to social media success today. The first key that we're going to go over is going to be creating an engaging and consistent social media presence that revolves around your audience. The second one is going to be constructing the storyline of your brand. And the third one is going to be crafting inspiring and valuable content that nurtures your audience and gives them a chance to know you. So the first myth that I want to dispel about social media and about having a social media account is that marketing on social media is about finding people who are interested in what you have to offer. The focus should always be on the product. I hope most of you know that this is wrong. To successfully market on social media, you first need to be interested in your audience, and your first focus should always be your target customer. The first thing that if you haven't already started taking notes, the first thing that I want you to write down and put it right next to your computer before you do anything or before you post anything else on your social media, I want you to answer this question. Who is your ideal audience, and what is your personal brand and social media presence doing to attract them? This is super important. Social media is like dating. The more you know about your target audience, the more equipped you will be to provide the value you need to persuade them. Some exercises that you can do in this is name 10 personality traits that you believe your target group has. Where are you going to find this target group? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on Instagram? What stores do they shop at? What food do they eat? What clothes do they wear? All of these things. What blogs do they read? What magazines do they read? Who do they look up to in the business sphere? Those are all things that will help you understand your target demographic. What type of content do you feel like they respond best to? Do you feel like they respond best to humor, success stories? These are all things that you need to know about your target market, and how can you make your target audience feel special? Usually your target demographic or your target audience is somewhat similar to you. This does not mean that you want to take whatever it is that you like and build your brand around that, because they might be a little bit different. But if you know what makes you feel special, you can certainly weave that into trying out and seeing if that's something that will make your audience feel special. The next thing that I want to say, this is one of my favorite ideas, and I want you to think about this. Social media is like a cocktail party. There is great potential to promote your products within social media, but it must be done the right way. You wouldn't enter a room and immediately start talking about yourself and pushing your products. You can't enter the online world and expect everybody to be immediately fascinated with your message. It doesn't matter if you are going to be offering people $1 million. It doesn't matter if you post that on Facebook. I guarantee if you post it on Facebook, hey, I have $1 million, who wants to split it with me? That you're not going to get as many responses as you think, because people don't know, like, or trust you enough to believe what you're saying. And that brings me into our second myth that we're going to dispel. The second myth is nobody is interested in my product or what I have to say. And that is also wrong. Nobody wants to be sold to. They want to be provided value. So to successfully market on social media, you first need to create your storyline and weave the benefits and value of your offering into that story. The best personal brands embrace their story, post with a purpose, provide value to their audience, and share their strengths and struggles. So when you're building your personal brand, especially one that truly resonates with people, it's all about the story you tell. Who you are in the world, where you want to be, that message needs to be clear and consistent. But most of all, it needs to be authentic. It needs to be your own unique brand of whatever it is you're about. Maybe you're ridiculously stylish. Maybe you're fantastically funny. Whatever it is, you need to own that story. The enthusiasm and uniqueness that you show is going to be what differentiates you from everybody else. And it's also going to be the story that you build your brand around. So by sharing your story, you're essentially nurturing your relationship with people and giving them the opportunity to know, like, and trust you. If you're in any sort of sales or marketing at all, you know that the most important thing to do is to bridge that gap between somebody maybe being interested in your product and maybe, I think, is somebody not muted? If you guys could all just check and make sure that you're muted. Okay, so by sharing your story, you're essentially nurturing your relationship with that person. You don't get married right away. You usually date somebody and you court them and you get to know them before you start, dating them. So it's the same thing with your story and with your brand. What you want to do is you want to be able to give them what they crave, and you want to be able to do that, and they want to know you and they want to be able to trust you. And the best way that you can do that is share your strengths and struggles, talk about the story or the meaning behind your business or whatever you started. Talk about why people like working with you. Why are you in this business? What keeps you motivated and drives your heart? What are your business's core values? These are all things that you can touch on. And I'm not talking, when I say your business, if you're in network marketing, I'm not talking about the core values of whatever business you're attached to. I'm talking about your core values. What is important to you? And don't run the risk, or don't be worried about running the risk of alienating people. A lot of times people don't share their full story because they're afraid that maybe it's going to hit a weird note with their target audience. And that is something that I don't want you guys to worry about or think about, because they want you to be authentic. Even if it is not the same exact story that they have, the fact that you're able to be open with them is going to go a really long way. So just a few more things about, your story and your brand. Your online presence should match who you are in person. One of the things that I talk about, I have an e-course, and one of the things that I talk about that is your online presence and what I call your business persona should match who you are in person, but it should be an amplified version of who you are in person. It should be like the comparison of you on 1 cup of coffee to you on 2 shots of espresso. Your personality should also reflect in your branding. So like I said, if you're funny, be funny. If you're sarcastic, be sarcastic. People like people that they can relate people. People trust people that are consistently delivering the same brand message. People buy things from people they like and trust. So it's about basically providing a consistent experience and relating to your audience in a way that makes you feel like you know them. The goal of a cohesive brand is to have everyone that visits your social media networks feel the connection to you and your brand. You want them to have instant brand recognition so that they immediately think of you. You want them, if you're in the wine business with me, you want them to be sending you wine articles. You want them to be sending you pictures of wine because they automatically think of you. I personally love coffee, so I get tagged in coffee things all the time. I get tagged in wine things all the time. I get tagged in things that people are like, hey, this fits your personal style. So that is the goal of what you want to do. A few more things to think about while you're building a cohesive brand is when somebody sees your brand, like I said, they should be easily able to identify it to you. Since social media has become a visual marketing tool, branding is critical as far as the type of imagery, fonts, color scheme. As you can see, I really like the colors blue and pink a lot, and I like floral patterns. I happen to be wearing floral right now. If you go to either of my websites, you see a lot of blues and pinks and florals. That is just part of who I am. My Instagram feed is the same way. It's very similar. I use very similar fonts. I use a mix of block fonts like you see here, and then I also use more of a brush script too. Everything you post should reflect who you are and the ethos of your personal brand. Play up to your strengths and take time to curate your presence. Think of everything as the opportunity to show the best version of yourself. Every person that comes into your network, think about this, every person that comes into your network is essentially a lead. They're displaying an interest in your business. Think of them like shoppers browsing through your store, seeing if they like anything. If somebody sees a lot of items they like or a lot of content in your social media that they like, they're going to decide that they like you and they're going to create a relationship with you. Even if that relationship is just clicking the friend request button or the follow button, they're creating a relationship with you. They're striving to hear more. They want more of what you're putting out. So that actually brings us into the last myth that we're going to dispel, which is creating captivating content is difficult. And that's also wrong. That is not difficult at all. When you have a clear vision of your ideal client and your brand, it's easy to shape content that provides value to your audience and prepares them to say yes to whatever it is you have to offer. Another reason why a lot of people end up, hey Amy, this will be, I will send you a copy. So guys, when you have a clear vision of your ideal client and brand, it's easy to shape everything to them. One of the biggest reasons why people say no or they don't want to give you whatever time that they have or buy your product or whatever is because you haven't prepared them to say yes. Even if it's only to a phone call. you haven't prepared them to say yes. And the way that you prepare them to say yes to whatever it is you have to offer, whether or not it's opting into your emails, whether or not it's signing up for your product, whether or not it's booking a discovery call, you need to shape your content around your target audience to be able to get them to say yes. So let's talk about a few ways to do this, and let me also give you a quick content calendar, or a quick plan for your content. As far as your social media goes, your content should always provide value to your audience. I know that we talk about this all the time. It's a big buzzword: value, value, value. 80% of your content should be value, at least, with 20% of it being a sales or about your products or services. I will say that you can actually, if you can correctly learn how to story sell and use your story, you can sell a lot more, and you can be a lot more proactive about calling people to action if you learn how to provide value in your story to inspire them to want to take that plunge. So inspirational quotes, that is a great way to provide value to your audience. Words speak. Everybody loves words, or, it's at least one of the love languages. Everybody loves words. They love to feel inspired. So inspirational quotes, or just making inspiring posts, is a really great way for you to provide value to your audience. The second thing that you can do is personal or behind the scenes posts. And these are posts that are talking about your day-to-day life. I have a 3-year-old son. My husband's in the military. On a regular basis, I talk about that kind of stuff because people want to see you as a real person, and that provides value. Success stories. And let me just clarify something. When I say success stories, if your news feed is a constant stream of before and after pictures, I'm not sure where everybody is coming in from. I'm not sure, what sort of background you have, what sort of company you're with, what sort of company you own. But if it's before and after stories, if you're just sharing success stories of people that you don't even know, then that is not providing value, because it seems spammy. When I talk about success stories, I'm talking about saying something along the lines of, when I started out in this business, I had never had any experience with this at all. I basically just went ahead and jumped in because I knew that it was a fantastic opportunity. I had no idea what I was doing. And thankfully, I had a great team behind me. And within this many months, I was able to make this much money. And then I was able to take my son to Disney. And that is really one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I want to be able to provide for my family and spend time with my son, and not have to go into an office all the time, and be able to do what I want when I want. That is a success story. It provides value, and it's a story. And at the end of that story, you can say, if this speaks to you, then go ahead and shoot me a message, because I would love to talk to you and see if this is something that's the right fit for you. Humor is one of the things that I use the most. I'm an extremely sarcastic person, so I always post little sarcastic quips or funny memes or whatever. You can use those too. It doesn't always have to be about your business. In fact, it should not always be about your business. Recommendations of your favorite products. And I'm not talking about recommendations of your favorite products that you sell. I'm talking about recommendations of your favorite products that you actually get absolutely no kickback from. Ask for recommendations for your favorite product too. Give people a chance to engage with you. Don't just talk at people. People don't want to be talked at. They want to be able to engage with you. If you're looking for a new hair care line, if you're looking for a new restaurant, if you're looking for ideas for a vacation, then post that. Even if you're not going to take any of their opinions, then post it. Everybody loves to give their opinions. I think we all know this. Everybody loves to give their opinions. And another thing that I will say is post original content. Differentiate yourself by posting things that everyone else isn't posting alongside you. Guys, if you are using the graphics from whatever company that you're working with, if you are using the graphics that they are posting, then you are not doing yourself any service. You are not branding yourself. You are building your company's brand for you, but you are not building your brand. So post your own graphics. Another thing is draw your inspiration from the best in the business, but don't copy them verbatim, because there's two things. Number one, Facebook's algorithm is going to catch it, and they're always going to give more views to the person that came up with it. And number two, they're speaking from their personal brand and not yours. I don't know if any of you have ever copy and pasted anybody's status before in your company and said, this is weird. This worked really, really well for this person, but it's not working for me at all. Do you think that it's maybe because you sound like an alien? Do you think that maybe it's because you don't sound like you at all? You sound like this other person, and people can see through that. That is a big, big part of social media. You need to be clear about the image that you want to project. And if you have more than one message, it gets really confusing. And even with more than one message, I'm talking about even being consistent with your brand. Because if you're not consistent, then you run the risk of being forgettable, or even worse, being inauthentic. So let's talk, I know I talked a little bit about this, but what your social media content should not be. And I know that a lot of you in here are already, pretty professional at this. So I'm just going to go through this really quickly. It should not be a constant stream of information about your business or product. If you tell everybody everything about what you're doing, they're not going to want to come and talk to you because they feel like they know everything. It shouldn't be your journal for everything bad that happens in your business or life. Negativity is going to attract negative people. Let me just start off or clarify something. Number one, you should not only have a personal profile page, you should also have a business profile page, because we all know that we are not supposed to use our personal profile page to run our business. Having a business page is important for two reasons. Number one, you don't want to get shut down by Facebook for running your business through your personal page. Number two, having a business page provides you with the opportunity to reach people that are not in your warm market and to expand your network. And it also makes you credible. It makes you more credible. Bottom line, people that are interested in doing anything, they want to see if you have a page. Things that are okay to post on your personal page as far as, your social media, you can post success stories. You can talk about how great your life is going. Talk about your struggles too. Talk about, the fact that you have trouble with organization, or that, you have had problems with money in the past and that you're working on paying off your debts. Those are things that you can talk about, but you can't just use your personal page to promote, like I said, like before and after pictures, which honestly you shouldn't be doing anyways. And if you're in the same company that I am, like there's no need for that anyways. And then another thing that I mentioned, don't post something unoriginal or inauthentic. Just because it worked for a specific person doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And it doesn't mean that it's going to attract the people that you want to attract, because like I said, everybody has a different target demographic. Your brand is your promise to your customer. It is derived from who you are, who you want to be, and who you want people to perceive you to be. Your brand shouldn't be in people's faces constantly. Instead, it should be a subtle reiteration of who you claim to be and what value you can offer to them. So I'm going to just really quickly go through a content game plan with you guys. Like I said, it's not that hard to create content for your business. You just have to sit down and do it. You can spend 1 to 2 hours in the beginning of your week planning out content. Start off by creating a brand style guide. Choose fonts, colors, and images that fit your brand. You can use Canva, which I know maybe some of you already know about, as well as photo sites like Pixabay and Unsplash to create and curate content. Canva is great for making cover photos for Facebook. If you want to make inspirational quotes, you can do all of that. Unsplash and Pixabay are really great for finding stock images. And the good thing about both of these sites is all of those stock images are royalty free, which means that you're not going to get in trouble for using them. Please stop going to Pinterest. Please stop going to Google Images and just saving an image and using it without the permission of the photographer. Maybe you won't get caught, but maybe you will. And it's just not a good thing to do and not a professional thing to do as a business. I love Unsplash personally because you can create collections based around what you like. Like I said before, my brand colors are very light like dusty rose pinks and blues. And I have a complete collection on Canva full of those images. I have a collection on Canva that is full of coffee images because I like to post coffee images sometimes. I have one that's full of wine images, and you can create those collections, which is absolutely awesome. And then the other thing is, to be engaging, you have to engage, and you have to talk to people. You have to comment on people's feeds. You have to do all of those things. You have to be a real person. If you just go and drive by post all over the place, nobody is going to find any value because they don't feel like you value them. As much as you want to provide value to your audience by giving them, feedback, or by giving them inspirational quotes and all that, you also need to provide value to them by being a cheerleader for your audience, because that's something that people really want. And also be willing to experiment and continue to research what works and what doesn't, because everything isn't going to work for every single person. And just because one specific thing doesn't work, it doesn't mean that your business plan doesn't work. It doesn't mean that social media doesn't work for you. It doesn't mean that your business isn't going to work. You need to be able to experiment with Facebook ads, with Facebook posts, see what your audience likes, see if your target audience is correct or incorrect. Where did we go here? Okay, let me go back up. Okay, so quality is the best business plan. This is something that I agree with 110%. You need to have a good quality business plan, or you need to have good quality in whatever you post. If you're saying to yourself, I haven't posted in a little while and I am just going to post something because I feel like I have to, don't post it, because it's probably going to be really crappy. You can take an hour or so in the beginning of the week to plan out your social media content. Pinterest is a great resource if you're looking for articles. There's a lot of really great resources out there for whatever it is your business is, and don't feel bad about sharing other people's articles. And obviously, when you share somebody else's article, make sure that you correctly acknowledge them, because reciprocity is awesome. They might reciprocate and share one of your articles, and it also will get a dialogue started between you. And it also brands you as an expert. If you're saying, hey, this is another good article that I found, I'm up to date on my stuff, then, that's absolutely amazing. So that concludes the formal portion of the webinar. I am just really quickly going to go into my 7-day branding reboot, which is something that I am offering to you guys. And this is something that I've been working on for a long time. Like I said, I've been doing branding for a really long time. And one of the things that I notice that people do is they don't focus on what they need to be focusing on. So what I've put together is a 7-day branding reboot. It comes with a bunch of things. The first thing that it comes with is a e-workbook, which you can download, you can write in. You can actually use it for several businesses. If you have different businesses, as long as, it's a business, you can use it. It's not specific to any sort of business. And what it is, it's 41 pages. It's 7 days. 6 questions per day that is really going to help you narrow down what your target demographic is. I'm going to show you on the next slide what each day is. It gives you corresponding videos for each day, and it also gives you access to our 7-day Branding Reboot Mastermind Facebook group. And this isn't just a 7-day Facebook group. This group is going to stay open because branding is a fluid process. It's something that you're continuously doing. So I'm going to continue to post content in there, post little extra freebies in there, content calendars, social media prompts, and things like that. And then it gives you obviously lifetime access to any course updates. Usually I sell it for $197. I am actually going to give it to you guys for $147 for the next 48 hours. So as soon as you get off this call, you'll be able to go ahead and book that. I'm just going to put the link down in the comments. I know that it is already in the comments, but I will put it down there in just a second. The last thing that I want to show you is what the contents are, what comes into the course. The first thing that we're going to go over is defining your audience, because I feel that if you don't know what your audience is, then you do not know what it's like shooting blind. You don't know what content you should be putting out. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to envision your brand. Day 3 is going to be creating your story. Day 4 is going to be personifying your brand. And this is what I talked about, having your brand persona. This is going to be not only personifying your brand on social media, but when you talk to people. Day 5 is going to be talking about constructing relevant content. I know we got into that a little bit today, but we're going to go way deeper into that. And day 6 is going to be about implementing a Facebook strategy. And this day 6 and day 7, and I have day 6 and day 6 on here, I just noticed, but day 6 and day 7 are 2 of my absolute favorite days because I love social media and I think that it is a great way for people to run their brands. So that is what's included in the course. And for me, I would say I spend about 100 hours researching things for this course and putting it together for you guys. Like I said, I'm just typing. Here's the link in the comments because I know that the link is not live in the thing. So like I said, this is going to conclude the formal portion of our webinar. If you want to be included in our 7-day boot camp, go ahead and go to the link now. Like I said, the price is only going to be available for 48 hours. So if defining your brand is something that you need help with, then hop on over to the link. I don't know why you guys are in here today. Maybe it's just that you're having a little bit of trouble connecting on social media. Maybe you haven't done something like this before. Maybe you've been doing this for a long time and nothing is seeming to, hit bullseye every time. This course is going to be a course that is going to take you through your brand as it stands today, allow you to make the modifications that you need to be. You're going to be able to go into the Facebook group. You're going to be able to get feedback. Oh, thank you, Lauren. You're going to be able to get feedback from everybody else. We already have about 17 people in the course that are working their way through it. You're going to be able to get feedback from other people. We're going to have, I just posted another thing in there today that is even a more in-depth anatomy of what your target demographic should look like. It gives you a lot more things to look at than just, what do they like and all this other stuff. So those are some things that are going to be offered. If you do anything for your brand, I say do this. You don't need to go out and hire a fancy graphic designer. You don't need to do any of that. You just really need to be clear on who you're marketing to and what your brand looks like. So like I said, if this is something that you think you would be interested in, then go ahead and hop on over to the link and we'll see you in the group. Thanks again for hanging out with me today, guys. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to talk to you guys inside the group. Okay, I will talk to you guys later.